Well, good evening and welcome back to the Masters Championship for a brand new season, kicking off as it always does here in Albert Park for the Australian Grand Prix. This is Division 2, and my name is Graham, and I'll do my best to take you through the action from, well, where it all begins, as Stevie G, I believe, is going to get us started for the new season. In the Racing Point, if we can go through all the new teams and all the various changes that have occurred as qualifying gets underway. So I guess starting off with the driver lineups. So laps will come in, people will cross the line and etc. But we'll just kind of go through the lineups at the moment. So in the Mercedes, it is Cygate here. He is partnered to go with Silas, who actually don't think he's actually here tonight, so he's going to be fly the flag solo for Mercedes tonight. In the Ferrari, it is Bino Man and Bomber Sanford in the Scuderia, so a good draw for them. In the Red Bulls, one of the more interesting driver lineups this season is Adi Baba and Mark de Man. Of course, we saw these guys last year in last season in Division 2. Of course, only two divisions now in TMC, to Division 1 and 2, and so some guys will have moved, other guys will have stayed. See Stevie G going through the third sector. So that is Red Bull going to be one of the more interesting teams to keep an eye on this season. In the McLarens, again, this lineup unchanged from last year. Would actually stay with Stevie G as he comes across to set the first time of the day at a 121.2. In the McLarens, it is Sway and Timo once again partnering up in the orange and blue. You can see the helmet to match. See if Sway has done a similar job. There he goes. 20.8 for Mark Demand to take provisional pole position. In the Racing Point, we kind of looked at one of them already. Oh, there's a car on the wall, and that is Tom Pretty at the Wesker corner. Turns 11 and 12, the exit, and he's lucky not to have lost any more than what looks to be his front wing. In the Racing Point, it is Stevie G and TMZ Yarm, another interesting pair. These were front runners at tracks last season in Division 3, and they're going to make an interesting pair again this year. Rather, an interesting pair this year in the Racing Point. In the Toro Rossos, awesome dude. He's coming out of the last corner. We'll stay with him as he, I believe, sets his first representative time of the session, and it's on the hards at 23.5 for him. His teammate at the moment, time in his PFC Steve, who showed consistency in Division 3 last year. He is partnering awesome dude in the Toro Rosso. In the Haas, it is D-Bear to go along with Extrema, again one of the other drivers who could find himself contending for a race win here or there. In the Haas, he's going to be interesting to watch. It'll be erratic at times, penalties can rack up, but when he's on it, he's a driver to be reckoned with. In the Alfa Romeo, unsafe release, will partner Joseph Corboy, who is wearing the greatest helmet you could possibly wear, as he comes to start a second flying lap. That may have been an invalidation already. He partners Joe anyways in the Alfa Romeo, and finally to top off in the Williams we have Big Shaq and Matt Holmes, and Matt Holmes is not here this evening. That's a nice helmet, to be fair. So there's your driver lineups, just the two divisions this season. Mark Deman currently leading the way with a 20.8 ahead of Stevie G in second. Ali then... Oh, did I skip Renault? Sorry, my bad. Sorry, Tom Pretty and Ali are in the Renaults. Sorry, that was my bad. Ali, he could be one of the title favourites for this year. I'm not sure what to lean in terms of title favourites in here and there. I mean, drivers could get moved and such, but if it's anything like last season's Division 3, Ali shows some really good pace. I think he's got a good chance, and him and Tom should form a very interesting partnership at Renault. A lot of this grid is compiled of the Division 3 drivers from last year, with a couple of guys coming down from Division 2. So obviously, look, a lot of these Division 3 guys don't safe release at times. PFC Steve, Big Shaq, Bean, these guys are all Division 3. So you've got the likes of Tom Pretty, who dropped down, Adi Baba, Mark Demand, Timo, Sway. A lot of these guys, some of these guys dropped down from Division 2. I think Joe is the only exception to drop down from Division 1 down to Division 2 rather than another way around. So it's those guys. So it's going to be Mark Demand, Alibaba. These are the guys I'm looking at. They could find themselves in a title battle. And I'm going to look. It's round one. It's race one. You know, there hasn't been a TMT race for a good month and a bit. So obviously this one has been. This has been in the works for a while. We'll kind of see quickly who's kind of been keeping the sweat on during the winter, and who hasn't been. Basically, I know I haven't really. So, but hey, that's just how it goes. We'll see soon enough how that is going to shake up. Let's just we'll try and find a driver on to ride on board with something going on. 10 minutes left, and not a lot going on the track. Everyone's kind of on in laps. Joe might be an exception. We'll go on board with the Alfa Romeo. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. So I expect Mark Demand, Tom, Addy, you know, these guys to kind of make an impression. Ali, I think, is going to make a good impression in this league as well in terms of contending. But yeah, obviously Abu Dhabi is a long way away for whenever we crown a champion. It's a long way away, and it all starts in Australia, which for many people, they do not like this track. It's not the best way to start a season. Really, you could argue the season picks up in Bahrain, but here is Joe. He's just running out of ERS to cross the line, and he lifts himself up to 12th on a 22.9 on the hards. That is the highest running. Is that the best? Yes, it's the best of the guys on the hards. I expect that will progress into a set of mediums, maybe to a set of softs. I guess we'll find out. But a lot of people then coming out for their second runs on the softs. Most of the field looking like they're going to use a set of the soft tires to start this race. Sway has got himself into 4th on meters. 21.5 is a good lap time on those mediums. I wonder if he'll kind of stay put rather, but no, he actually puts on a set of the softs to see if he goes out. But yeah, looking like the majority of people looking like to settle on the softest compound tire, and you can do softs and mediums here if you stretch it out. But let's look at Stevie G then, who is currently in second place, 21.2, and he opens the DRS. He's run out of ERS there just before the end. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. It's going to cost him enough time. That's a 20.9. You just get the feeling he could have had a little bit more left in the tank had he deployed his ERS a bit differently. But let's go over with Mark Demand, currently on provisional pole. Not the only man now into the 20s. As he runs down towards turn 3, gets the car slowed down nice and gently. Still in overtake mode. I imagine he'll have to knock that down fairly soon. Nice wide entry sweeping through. See if he's up on his current time, and he's up by a 10th. There's got a bit of traffic in the form of CVG in front of him, who should leap out of the way, and he does. So a lot of deployment here still for Mark Demand. I imagine it'll all come in sector 3. It's a nice entry into turns 9 and 10, through the curve of 11, and a part of the track where lots of people will possibly fall victim to 11 and 12. 11 and 12. Turn 10 is the long left. Or yeah, apparently, according to the track map I see in front of me. Good effort from Sygate, getting himself into 3rd place there. He can qualify well. We saw that last year in Division 3. Here we go then into the last 2 turns. This looks like a pretty decent lap from Mark Twain. I imagine this will be an improvement on his current time, and it's a 20.7 for Mark Demand, and he furthers his advantage. On provisional pole position, let's see Extrema, as I think that was Saadi that went up into P3 just now. Surely was. I want to see Extrema as he crossed the line. 21.7. Maybe an invalid. Here comes Ali then. 7 minutes to go, so we're getting closer to the last runs, and he's going to dive into the pits. So the racing point then sandwiching these 2 Red Bulls for the time being. A lot of people still in the pits. Oh, there's a big crash, and that is D-Bear. He is out of this session, and that has come out of... What turn is that? I think that's heading down towards turn 6, if I had to guess. Yeah, that was a big one. So he is out of this session. He will be playing no further part, maybe even out of this corner actually. I'm not quite sure. The angle of it was interesting, but he's out, and that is the one of the Haas is out of commission then for this session at least. As we'll go on board Sway. He approaches turns 11 and 12. Beautifully done. Car looking very much hooked up. And he heads into the sector 3 then. Oh, a bit wide to get out to the gravel, and that has rather killed the lap. Will he carry on still, or will he dive into the pits? He dives in, and that's unfortunate. Let's just see what kind of a lap he was on for. Out of curiosity, where is he? He's in 7th place. Sector 2, yeah, look, he expected to be quicker. Obviously, he was on the soft compared to his first run being done on the medium. So everyone kind of out on an out lap or in the pits at the moment. Looks like the only man on a flying lap looks like Big Shack here, and he's using his deployment rather interestingly. So possibly not on a lap, but he is 2/10 up. So I'm going to guess then by that he is on a flying lap. So may as well stick with him. Beautiful helmet, I have to say. I do love that use of blue and yellow and the red to complement somewhat on that Williams. Let's see how he handles turns 11 and 12 actually, as Tom Pritchie off the racing line. Might pay a price for that entry. Potentially. We'll find out as he begins to end his lap. Stay on board actually. Misses the apex somewhat there of turn 14. As we're down now to under 5 minutes. Trying to keep it as flat as he can to lift off at the end there, and that compromises his run out of the final turn. How much will it compromise his lap? It's still an improvement, but it is still P10 at the moment for Big Shack, and that's not awful considering the guys around him. Although I suspect some of them have yet to set a representative time, but I know Stevie G's on a lap. Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. So D-Bear definitely crashed there on the run out of on the run down to turn 6. That's for sure. Just seeing that gives me confirmation. You know, sector 1 could just be a car getting out of the way, so we'll stay with Stevie G. Bouncing back strong after I have to say, was disappointing F1 2018 for the long time Team C driver, especially in the first season. Ooh, a bit of a wobble there. Keeps it and runs down towards turn 13. Of course, in sector 3 now. And see, again, his ERS management doesn't look any better, really. And it looks like, again, he's going to run out just at the end. Let's see. As he lifts, and again, yeah, same kind of area. He's run out of ERS, so did he find an improvement on this lap, however? He did not. It's a 21 flat. Half a tenth off his best. Let's see if he can catch. Looks like Tom Pritchie's on a lap, and Tom Pritchie's launched himself into the top 5 now as well, so let's see then if he can keep progressing up the field. His teammate is just behind him in 7th at the time. And comes across line. It's a 20.9. He's 3 thousandths ahead of Stevie G, and he moves into 2nd place then. Oh, big moment there for Psyche. He's just kind of locked up. Not locked up, rather. He's gone deep. That's the word I was looking for. Sway on a lap at the moment. Just have a quick check if Beanman's coming into the pits, so we'll go on board with Sway. 2/10 up on his time. Of course, now his fastest time, I believe, is on a set of the medium tire, and he's still holding a top 10 position on the mediums. So potentially, you could monitor this and see how it all shakes down. There's quite a big gap right now between himself, sorry, the top 10 and the 11th place there. Especially for Sway on that lap, 21.5. There's a good 6 tenths between that and 11th place, if I just see that correctly. Yeah, so we'll see what happens if he chooses to finish this lap or not, but there's a chance he could start this race on mediums, and that would be a wrinkle to this race potentially. He's coming out of the final corner then, so let's see what he decides to do. If he decides to lay off or set the time, he could even get closer to the front row. That's 5th place. He does improve. It's a 21 flat, and he can have a slow down lap if he wants and do one more lap if he so wishes. So Joe then coming out on the set of softs. He did start his first time on hards. Also, dude coming out on mediums. It looks like Awesome Dude and Yarm are the only ones who are going to have a legitimate shot here to finish Q3, not Q3, qualifying on medium tyres. An interesting move by Joe, because if he was going to do softs, may as well have had the benefit of an extra run midway through that session. But not to be. He's going to go for one run on the softs to see how it ends up, as you're going to have retirements coming in then for people who have finished their times and aren't planning to go out again. I'd say I'm not sure if I prefer this version of the that helmet from Timo or his Renault equivalent from last year, but he's on a flying lap. I believe he's the furthest forward on a flying lap. As we get closer then to the checkered flag, Timo currently in 10th. As makes his way through 11 and 12 quite cleanly too. Let's see if he can finish the lap strong. Looks like he's in high deployment through this section, and that'll certainly give him. You want to sway retires from the session then. Touch it. You actually just came back into the pits then. So his teammate is going to carry on, and can Timo out-qualify his teammate for the first race of the season? Oh, it's just sixth. Oh, it's a 10th and 6 thousandths behind, but he is in 6th place nevertheless. Now then, let's see if he can try and catch the furthest person forward. Extreme's going to be close. Adibaba any closer? So I think Extreme is going to be the first one then. So checker flag is out, and now let's see who is. Let's see the hands shown, so to speak. Talking in terms of poker. Extreme then comes across the line, and he moves into 7th place. So good job from him. Mark Man then currently on pole position. No one has come close. Oh, Laddie Baba, his teammate actually comes across in front of him. Didn't see him. Can Mark Man reply? No. 20 flat, so his teammate at the death. Looks like he may have stolen pole position. Team C Coreboy coming through. And he moves up into 3rd place. So Joe then gets into the 20s as well. Unsafe release on softs. He's going to finish in P12. Got Big Shaq and Yarm left to cross. I think that's going to be it. And the Yarm didn't get the lap in on the mediums, and Big Shaq is on an in lap. So there you go then. At the death, it is a Red Bull lockout. Adibaba leads his teammate ahead of TMC Coreboy, and Tom and CBG round out the top 5 for the first round of Division 2. There you go. Ah, yes, beautiful. Just what I want to see. So a quick run then. Adibaba 10th ahead of his teammate Mark Man in 2nd. TMC Coreboy in 3rd. Tom Pretty in 4th. Stevie G 5th. Sway in 6th. Timo 7th. Team McLaren and Linus Stern Extrema in 8th. Cygate in 9th. Ali in 10th. Followed by PFC Steve. Unsafe release Big Shaq. Good effort from Big Shaq to qualify 13th there. D-Bear 14th. Awesome Dude 15th. Bit of a disappointing one for Awesome Dude there, but just didn't get the lap in apparently. Yarm 16th. Bomber Sam for 17th. And Beano Man wraps up the grid. You see both neither set a time in the end. The two Ferraris starting at the back. So the good news is they can only go up from here. But an interesting prospect for sure ahead of this one. I assume the weather will be dry. We'll find out actually in a sec. I assume it's dry. Indeed. A little cloudy, but you can see the sun shining through at Albert Park. If you have any predictions for a winner, hey, now's a good time to get ahead of the bandwagon, or the championship for that matter, in round 1. Could be difficult to bet against the one of the Red Bulls at least, but we'll find out. Penalties, of course, a fairly common occurrence at this race, and of course, more in-race crashes than you may expect at this track. So we'll see. We shall see. But let's see then how the decide to play this one outside the top 10. Strategies aren't too different here, but anyways, let's go through them. Right, so aggressiveness shown from Binoman here in 18th on the softs, and Yaram here on 16th, who you feel is very much out of place here in the Racing Point. So he's gone for softs. Majority of the top 10 outside top 10 go for mediums. PFC Steve unsafe release, Big Shack, Awesome Dude, and Bomber Sanford going for mediums, and then just the one representative on the hard compound tyres, and that is D-Bear from 14. So he could get swamped to start this race, but play the long game. Perhaps a safety car comes out, changes the game. We'll see, but it's going to be difficult to see anyone outside the top 10 winning, but I am intrigued to see what Yarm can do and how far he can get up from 16th. But the start is going to be key. Don't want to be stuck behind someone here on mediums or hards, especially on the softs. You've got to make that ground up quickly. But yeah, so we've got an interesting 29 laps ahead of us. I expect the Red Bulls will make a break, but we'll see. Again, just to kind of piggyback on something that I said in qualifying, the only people in the top 10 here, the majority of people in the top 10 here are from last season's Division 2. The highest one being from Division 3 being Stevie G here in 5th. So, see what happens as they begin to form up. Then it's going to be, look, the first race can always be a little sketchy in terms of racecraft, so that's just how it goes, especially after a long break as well. We shall see. If I miss anything, I apologise, but as always, with the bottom tier, this has the potential to get quite chaotic quite quickly. I'll go on board with Joe actually to start this race, not just because he's wearing a pumpkin helmet. He's got a good view of Markman and Adi Baba in front of him, so long as he doesn't pull off to one side and let everyone by. So anyways, let's go. A new season of TMC is about to get underway. Division 2, let's see how it all unfolds in the next 29 laps. Here we go. 5 red lights, and away we go. Looks like a decent start for Mark the Man. He's going to be challenging his teammate into turn 1. Going to go down the inside of his teammate. Good relations these guys have. He keeps it. Joe Corby though is going to be hot on the hunt. There is Carnage, I believe, downwards, but Joe looking to hunt down Adi Baba, heading down towards turn 3. Adi goes defensive sway, and Tom Pritchie goes side by side sway of the inside for the next turn, turn 4. And he holds on for the time. Oh, and Adi Baba's out of this race. He's lost it coming out of turn 5, and he is out of this race. Wow. Oh, there's another car off, so that's PFC Steve. He's off now as well. Wow, so I'm guessing Adi just lost it all on his own, but I did not expect that, and he is out of this race. Lap 1. I told you this stuff can happen in the race here, but that was not the place I was expecting it. But alas, as we got Yarm already up to 9th place. Yarm absolutely killing it on this first lap. Exactly what he needed to do was navigate the field, but he wanted to do a little bit cleaner than that, as Extrema and CVG getting close to Division 3 rivals from last year. You can see Saiga and Yarn getting close as well, side by side. Extrema on the outside, CVG on the inside. This is good racing to start here. Saiga, Yarn also fighting away, and CVG holds it. These teammates going to be coming up in a hurry though, so that's a great start from Yarn. He's up plenty of spots already. You can see the position changes right there, but leading the way is Mark Demand ahead of TMC Corpo in 2nd, Tom Pretty 3rd, Sway 4th, CVG 5th, Extrema 6th, Timo in 7th, Yarm up to 8th, Sygate 9th, and Unsafe Release then in 10th place. We got a couple guys into the pits already. Beano Man, Awesome Dude, Big Shack there into the pits to replace damaged wares on their racing machine. But for the moment, this battle for the top, inside the top 7, it's going to be fairly fascinating to see how this all unfolds. So good start from Sway to get up to 4th place. I still can't believe Alibaba. I mean, I'm guessing he lost. He marked him and I definitely got him. So I assume that was what happened. But of course, no DRS activated just yet. Have to wait until the next lap for it to do so. But at the moment, you can see Sway getting a little closer to Tom Pretty. He's just lifting a little bit, and Sway taking a little bit to the extremities of the track limits, but he's pulling up along the outside. Joe getting close to Mark Demand as well, and Sway, will he go around the outside? Can he get a switchback of sorts? He's going to put his car down the inside. No, thinks better of it, and slots in behind Tom. All the while, CVG closes onto the back and bringing Extrema, Timo and Yarmouth. Oh, and CVG's gone round, and Timo's knocked into him. Nothing he could do to avoid that. I definitely saw a bit of wing fly off there. We'll imagine it's obviously Timo's. See if you can find that. But just, yes, CVG just lost the back end, and he's letting his teammate go, is CVG. So Yarmouth up into 5th place already. What a start. Wow, absolutely flying start. That has definitely paid off. But I just not sure if Stevie G's got damage or not from being hit into. He does have damage. See, the damage to him and Timo, the end plates, are both missing. And so that was why, obviously, Stevie G let his teammate go. But it is absolutely imperative for these guys behind, so more so Extrema, that he has to get by these guys as quickly as possible. Otherwise, he is going to be... Or has he got damage as well, actually? He's understeering quite a bit, as well as further down the field. Oh, unsafe release is... facing the wrong way, and Bomber Sanford is there as well. Has Extrema got damage as well? Did he pick up damage on that left or that right hand side? He has. So they all suffered damage then. Timo, CVG and Extrema have all suffered damage, and that kind of takes a bit out of the that was an interesting top 7 battle there. Now it's just top 5 really. Or top 8, or a top 8 battle before. Now it's just the top 5. They're spread out a bit now because obviously Yarm has to negotiate the carnage in front, and now he's nearly 3 seconds behind this battle between Sway and Tom. And Tom is, you can see, he's 2 seconds behind Joe, so there's no defense for him in terms of straight line speed. But is there enough of a straight as Yarm says the fastest lap of the race? CVG comes into the pits, and Sway's running a little bit wide there, losing a little bit of momentum, and for the time being he can't overtake that Renault as they head down towards turn 3, with Cygate then trying to fend off Ali. Just long enough of a straight for that to happen. Ooh, a bit of contact there from Ali, I believe, onto Cygate. As at the front, TMC Corporate keeping up with Markman. That's all he needs to do at the moment, really. As again, these two getting close, and Cygate getting very defensive. Ooh, a bit more contact, and you can tell there's a little bit of nastiness possibly, I think. These two squirming away. I can't remember if they came together last year in Division 3. Markman picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that'll be great news for Joe. You can see Swizz has kind of lost a little bit of ground there, and Joe, well, he's just have to, at this stage, he's going to have to overtake it for the win at this stage, because, well, he's got within that 3-second window. You see Ali, has Ali got damage? No, he looks okay, at least on the visually. And he's trying to catch Cygate once again, but it's the closest battle on track at the moment. Sway just lost a little bit of ground there. As I guess we wait for the who undercuts first, really. Sway could do it, Joe could try and do it, though doesn't have to do it. As they head down towards turn 3, you see Joe right behind Mark Demand, and Tom Pretty still sitting a little bit comfortably ahead of Sway for the time being, and Cygate covering the track nicely, preventing a dive bomb from Ali, because he's just a bit more hesitant down the corners of this part of the track at least, and runs a bit wide, and that's going to allow Ali to pull up side by side and down the inside. Oh, but the contact, more contact between the two. Potentially, like, oh, I think he's got damage. I think Cygate got damage. Yes, he has on the right hand side of his wing. So I don't know if that was lag. I don't know if there's a little bit of naughtiness between himself and Ali, but he's definitely got himself damage, and Ali's through, but certainly at a cost to Cygate's wing. As meanwhile, Sway must have made an error somewhere, because now he's almost 2 seconds behind Tom Pretty, and now has to try and fend off Yarham as well. But Joe looks like he's a little bit closer this time around. And look at both ERS situations, quite healthy between the two. And Joe then, they go for the move this time. Markman left the door open, to be fair. As Yaram then looking like he's going to go side by side, and he's through on Sway, so that's Yaram into 4th place. Easily enough in the end. Sway doesn't really fight that too much, and Joe just lost a little bit of the ground there, and he's lost out a chance to having the go. But Markman definitely left the door open there, heading down towards turn 1, so must have been fairly confident that Joe wasn't going to walk through down the inside. He had enough space as Saiga pits for a set of hards, and I'm sure to replace that front wing as well. So Yarman up to 4th from 16th. He's got 1.7 seconds to catch Tom Pritchard. Don't forget his tyres are a lap fresher, or maybe potentially a few laps fresher. Of course, Yarm will have started on a fresh set of sauce in this race compared to the used set from Tom Pritchard. Of course, having qualified on the tyres he qualified, having started the race on tyres he qualified on, that's going to be a corner cut surely for Joe. That's going to be another one surely. So potentially knocking on the door of a penalty here, but it's the closest battle we have on track at the moment. Everyone else kind of spread out, as what will happen when you have incidents and wings being damaged and the such. And look at that angry pumpkin chasing down that Red Bull. In a good spot is Joe right now, and Mark Demand dives into the pits. So Mark Demand then choosing to prevent the undercut, I would imagine, rather than being a sitting duck to it, but he's in. And where will he emerge then is the question. So Joe, if he's going to be, has surely got to put the ERS load up. He's got full ERS, but no better time to use it than now. Hard compound tyres for Mark Demand. He should come out just... You come out ahead of Bomber Sanford? Yes, he will. It's going to be tight, but he's made it through, so he's got nice clean air, assuming of course Bomber doesn't immediately overtake him, which could happen. Let's see if the overspeed is going to be enough. It looks like he's okay. So Mark Demand then out in 8th place. Bit of clear track in front of him before Ali in 7th. And then now we can get to work on getting those hards up to temperature, but that'll be interesting for Joe. I wonder if he'll try mediums, as Tom Pretty now within DRS range of Yaron behind him. Lap 7 of 27. And that is definitely a corner cut. You can see he tried to be careful on the exit, but 4 seconds this group is behind Joe. As a bit of action here, as Unsafely swoops around the outside of Beanaman. That is for... Oh, Extreme is out of this race, and he has lost it coming out of the Wesker corner, turns 11 and 12, as Tom Pretty dives into the pits. We'll see if a safety car comes out for that, but that's Extreme then out of this race. He was compromised already, having had wing damage from that incident earlier between Stevie G and Timo and such, and the guys who got caught up in that. But it looks like we're in the clear. There's no safety car there at least. Where will Tom Pretty emerge? Mark the Man will obviously come ahead of him, so will Bomber. He'll come out between Bomber and D-Bear. Well, Tom, quite easily, of course, everyone this stage onwards has a stop made. So, well, D-Bear doesn't have a stop, but CVG downwards, basically. They've all made stops, and speaking of, the Racing Point dives to the right-hand side and makes the move on the Haas. And that is CVG into his 9th place. He's going to go a long way in this race. It's going to be a lonely race for him in the end. But there was his mistake that kind of put him there to begin with. As we've got PFC Steve negotiating Beanaman. Of course, I think Steve had to pitch first lap. He's on soft, so he's got to come in again. So he might see that. He may see that Ferrari again later down the road. As arguably the closest battles are back here at the moment, where the front runner is still yet to pitch. So, I mean, nothing better to do, right, at this stage. As Big Shaq is trying to defend from unsafe release, who's just got a new set of hards on, a newer set rather, and TMC Yarm is into the pits from P2. We'll stay with this though. Yarm's kind of in clear space. We'll pick it up just at the end, because actually we'll be close to Tom Pretty, to be fair. So let's just pick that up now then. He's coming to the last corner. Where is Yarm? He's away. Tom Pretty exiting the last corner. I apologise for missing the juicy P14-15 action. There is Yarm. He is clear. So a fresher lap. A lap on the fresher, newer tyres for Tom Pretty could keep him ahead. He's got a good chance heading down towards turn 3, but Yarm covers that off. and then he could settle in. But he's got a lot of ERS. Actually, both of them have not really used their ERS too well, as being unsafe release overtaken by Beano Man there. P15. Well, actually, there's a battle to watch. To be fair, we'll keep on board with this, just in case I'd be I'd be murdered for missing a scrap between these two. Looking at P14, 15, 16. As entertaining as it probably is, I'm going to stick with this one for a little bit more importance of position. Ali is catching up to Timo. I don't think Timo pit. No, he didn't pit to replace his wing. He's kept going, so I imagine he's going to try and limp this out onto a set of mediums, perhaps, or just want to try and keep going long enough so he doesn't have to do the two-stop, as well some people have nailed themselves too. At this time, they're catching up on Bomber Samfer as well in 6th. Still no sign of Joe pitting or Sway. Did Sway pick up damage from that incident? I'm not sure. I think he did. Yes, I think he. No, he didn't. I don't think he did. His teammate Timo is though. Did, and he's into the pits. I can't remember if Sway picked damage or not. He may have, to be fair. A new wing there for Timo. And no, Stevie G will come out in front of him. You see these guys catching up to the back of Bomber Samfer, but Timo then will. He's going to come out just behind Awesome Dude. Who's of course on 8th lap. Old Softs having pitted on lap 1, I believe. So chance for some points for Timo. We shall see. As Yaron, we want to get by Bomber Samfer as quickly as possible, and he does. And see how long it takes for Tom Purdy to follow through now as well. If he can, should be able to out of this corner. If he can get done before the DRS straight. Yes, should be easy enough then. So, does he keep DRS? I'm not sure where the activation line is, but he's in within DRS of Yaron there. So, as TMC core by pits, I need to see if he's. Yeah, he did. Okay, so he did have wing damage. Okay, I was right in remembering that. So, leader is in. Mark the Man pitted a while ago. That's a beaut. I don't need to hear that. And it looks like it is medium tires coming onto that Alfa Romeo. So let's see if Mark the Man should actually clear him. So. Sway is in as well as Ali. So there is Mark the Man, so obviously having 4 laps on those hards. Got some time, and you can see Yarm there right behind as well. So Joe then looking at a podium at the very worst. But he's got some work to do then to try and hunt down. As a bit of a pit stop, a battle between Ali and Sway, of course. Oh dear, that air definitely desynced. So it looks like Sway's in front, but you know your guess could be as good as mine with that regard. So yeah, so yes, because Sway had to change his wing, of course. Ali may not have actually, to be fair. I don't think Ali had to. But here we go then. Joe just ahead of Yarm, and of course Yarm obviously has pitted, so Yarm got quite close to Joe in the end. But on those mediums, Joe should be able to pull away. Not a ton of difference, like only 2 laps, so we'll see how this works out for Joe. That's another corner cut, surely. Go for a helicopter shot, but 4.5 seconds is the gap between Mark and Joe, and I believe Mark does have a penalty. Actually, we know Mark Grant has a penalty. I do not believe Joe has one at this stage. So that's where, for now, Joe just has to get down to under 3 seconds, and we'll see what happens after that. And in the meantime, but got a nice complement of ERS. Mark the Man did be into his a little bit, possibly to try and extend a gap between himself and Joe. But Yarm keeping good distance at the moment. He has broken out of DRS as well from Tom Purdy as well. So. Is that everyone then? There's been a stop. So Bomber Samfer and D-Bear have yet to make a stop, and that's where we stand. So from here on out then, so a couple of guys going to mediums, a couple of guys going on to the onto the hards. So Ali, Sway, Timo on mediums. And yeah, so that's where we stand with that. And meanwhile, these two continue their their scrap as they get by D-Bear. So D-Bear's got to make a stop, so his pace is representative then, it seems. But yeah, 9/10. Joe's actually eaten quickly into that time. I wonder if Mark made a mistake on this lap. Let's actually go with him, and we'll follow the lap times, because I'm almost certain it's Yarm because of a 3-second penalty. He must have made it, unless Joe's rapid on those mediums, or Markman's made a mistake somewhere. And given that Joe hasn't pulled out a ton of gap on, Bino is out of this race. I'm guessing he's lost that coming out of possibly turn 5 as Sway picks up a penalty. Let's just see then. Markman this lap, gap is under 3 seconds already. He's absolutely reeling him in. 1:26.5. Joe is setting a 1:25 flat. So Joe absolutely flying at this part of the race. He is already within that 3-second window, and well, this way he'll be looking to overtake Mark Demand. Hard tyres for Bomber Sanford. We'll get to the end. Not a ton else going on right now, to be fair. I guess we're going to wait for the potentially the medium runners to try and close up on some of these hards, but Sway's got 4 seconds to try and make up on CVG. Joe's got to make up 2 seconds on Mark Demand, so it's kind of where we're at this part of the race. It's been a little underwhelming, not gonna lie. As there's an incident between Bomber and Sygate. Of course, Bomber just pitted. His wing looks fine, so as unfortunate that incident is, he can just carry on and try and hunt down Sygate, who's on 7-lap older tyres than Bomber. And actually, Bomber Safari could actually sneak into some points here. With D-Bear yet to make a stop, and obviously Sygate not too far up the road on significantly older tyres, so I guess we'll see how that turns out. But for now, lap 13, it's not even half distance yet. Lap 13 of 29, we lost Adi Baba very early from this race, and that's kind of... this race changed in a couple of spots. Adi Baba crashing out lap 1 wasn't ideal. The incident between Stevie G, Sway, Timo all picking up wing damage after... just domino effect after Stevie G lost the back end coming out of turn 15. That kind of sucked for this race. PFCC, of course, PFCC has never really got into this race really. He's out of nowhere. Couldn't get done qualifying, and then in the race, yeah, just I think he got caught up on lap 1. And yeah, after that, it's kind of we are where we are. But Bomber's already back into DRS of Sygate, and I imagine by the time we get to the second DRS straight, we'll be looking at a potential overtake to get into the points. So could be even 9th place even on the cards here for Bomber Samfer after Austin Dude's just pit on his tyres onto a set of the medium tyres. As Sygate goes wide. Now Sygate was involved in some questionable driving earlier with Ali, but let's try to see if what was what in that regard. As Bomber's trying to go around the outside, difficult to do around that corner. But you can see the significant advantage that Bomber has over Sygate, as Joe brings the gap to 1.1 seconds. Getting closer to that DRS range as Sygate picks up a penalty onto the gravel. Now disrupt his run, and with DRS, this should be job done. Although, surprised perhaps he didn't go down the inside. Sway sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's actually catching quite quickly on Stevie G. Of course, a lot older tyres, and Steve Bear makes his pit stop. Then this will make this a scrap for 9th place as Big Shakra tyres from this race. He was already back basically last, and this battle still ensues. Oh, this should be it now, surely. As they got to the grass, and again, these two have come close. This is scrappy but fun at the same time. As PSC comes in for a stop as well, and he's up beyond softs. Oh, contact again! And again, that puts Bomber on the back foot. But he definitely had his chances to try and overtake before that, though. But we saw the last time it wouldn't be any big deal to trying to get back onto the diffuser of that Mercedes. But we'll switch back to that in a little bit. But meanwhile, the battle for the race lead is beginning to actually happen now, because now Joe has brought the gap within a second. He does not have DRS yet. He was out of a second by the time he was in the activation zone, so he doesn't have DRS down this straight either. But yeah, getting closer now. is Joe, and Yarm 2.2 seconds behind as well. So Mark the Man might. Well, I know he's got no, Yarm's got a penalty, but still could be a chance to kind of leap into second here for Yarm. If another penalty goes Mark the Man's way, and surely this time Sidegate goes to the middle of the track. She has to prioritise a better exit, and I don't know if that's enough. As he heads down towards turn 3, and Sidegate covers it off, so it is difficult to overtake here, but with a tyre advantage, I mean, Bomber really shouldn't have that much trouble getting by, but for the time being he doesn't. There's a DRS then for Joe. And you can see he's closer, but not close enough to make an overtake yet, so I'm going to stay here. Because this is, let's be honest, this is much more entertaining. Because Joe, we know he's got a, I don't think he's got a penalty. Mark the Man we know has one. As Joe's got plenty of ERS rather to use. He's not close enough to make an overtake just yet, so I'm sticking here. Like, it's just infinitely more entertaining to watch that battle. Just keep an eye as you head down towards turn 3. And nothing doing for now, and unsafe release is out of this race. A safety car would make things pretty interesting, to be fair. And now unsafe release is finally, our Bomber Sapphire is finally side by side. Can he hold it on Sidegate? He is finally through. And that should be it then for that. If he can just get away then in the well, if he doesn't immediately give it up, then he should see this one through. Yellow flag, that's just for unsafe release car. So Joe flying the flag solo for Alfa Romeo then this time around, and he's got full ERS, so he's just biding his time really, which is a smart thing to do, as only befits a man with a pumpkin helmet. Yeah, I'm still 2.1 behind though, but I'd imagine at this stage potentially that, you know, with Joe then being within DRS of Yarm and Yarm not having that benefit of that extra straight line speed, that this could be a good opportunity for Joe to try and pull away a little bit from Yarm. I know Yarm's got a penalty, and ooh, that's my bad. I completely missed Swagay onto the back of Stevie G. It's like Stevie G, 13 up old hards, difficult to fight. It's not really a fight he could really win. And now you can see Joe much closer than he has been before. Really though, high deployment, yeah, I mean, it's not really going for it yet. So I wonder when push comes to shove here for Joe, he shouldn't really waste around too much, because mistakes like that will only allow Yarm to pull that a little bit closer. You see he gained 4/10 there that time around. So, but Joe then begins to extend the pressure a bit now on Mark the Man, because he's got 11 laps or 12 laps to go, including the one they're currently on. So still plenty of time to something to happen. But this is new territory for Joe, because I don't think as Saiga comes into the pits, Joe, oh, he must have damage. Joe's not really been in this position before to kind of be here chasing the win. It sounds like I remember from other seasons. This is new territory. So, and look, it's easier to be the chaser than to be chased. There's no doubt about it. And obviously Joe, we know, doesn't have to do anything in this situation, because we know he's got, well, I'll just confirm, but I'm certain he's got 3 warnings and no penalty. Solid. I imagine that was a collision warning with someone, but he's not no penalty, and that should be his biggest focus at the moment. But again, low deployment, he is just biding his time. I don't know. I can understand what he's doing, but if he's being held up, if the opportunity is there to make the overtake, he should make it. Doesn't have to make it, as long as it's clean. If a clean opportunity arises, he should take it, regardless of whether penalties arise or not. But he's playing this one smart. Like, there's no doubt. Like, he's playing this one smart. He's got a lot of ERS. If he wanted to drive by, he probably could. I do think the opportunity will present itself to him at some stage in these last 11 laps. So No point rushing as Diva. Oh, he's off on the track at the last corner, and that will put PFC Steve into 11th place. A bit of a race to forget for him, hasn't it? But yeah, Yarm, this is the other thing Joe needs to worry about. Yarm's tipping a little bit closer, and if he gets within DRS, that could be problematic. Now, obviously, Yarm does have a penalty, but all it takes is one warning for Joe, and then all of a sudden it's a completely different race. With because obviously then Joe has to overtake Mark the Man to try and win the race. And he briefly bumped it up into overtake, but not for too long. But yeah, Yarm's definitely gaining here. So they may, yeah, Joe may get a move on, because I do think this race becomes a bit more dangerous if there's 3 cars squabbling for this hypothetical win here. So yeah, he just has to exercise a little bit of caution, and I would say try and get by. But look, still time. It's not a lot else going on, really. Of course, it is conceivable that Joe's running, lean fuel as well. No, I'm just kidding. I want to throw that in for the old YouTube comments. Smart Demand still holding on. Again, a little bit of. See, this is the thing. You also the danger you risk is that one mistake you make, and all of a sudden then you're out of DRS range of someone, and then the car behind you is closer. So, for example, Joe's 6/10 behind Mark, but now Yarm's 1.5, and he's getting closer. It's just. It's playing with fire. It's not playing with a big flame, but you're leaving that door open for a disaster if something goes wrong. And of course, all it takes is one mistake it's easy to get penalties around here, because turn 1 and 2, it's easy to get penalties there. Heading into turn 6, you can pick up a penalty there. Turn 11 and 12, you can pick up a penalty there. Like, it's a warning there. CVG's actually pitted for softs. Interesting. Going for a fastest lap. So it's so easy to pick up a warning here, and because of that, because obviously being one warning away, it's. Look, yes, you can sit back. Oh, D-Bear's out of this race. Yes, you can sit back and, and just not push, and obviously, manage your race and not push. And obviously, the more you push, the more likelihood you are to kind of get a penalty. Oh, he's had a crash out of turn 12. But yeah, I don't know. This is dangerous territory. I'm not sure how those mediums will hold up by the end of the race, and because I think it's fair to say he hasn't been trying to overtake Mark Manley. We've seen Joe use, low and none down the straights. He's got full ERS. If he wanted to try and overtake, I'd hope to God this isn't what it looks like, but I don't know. I'm rambling because there's still 7 laps left of this race, and there's nothing else going on. CVG is out here in 8th, having pitted. He might catch up to Timo, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Sway's getting closer to Tom Pretty though. 2.2 seconds. Potentially something happening there, and yeah, possibly. So he can get enough podium. He can get a 4th place here if he can overtake Tom. I think he's got a penalty as well, to be fair, has Sway, but I'm not sure if Tom has one or not. But we carry on. 12 runners left in this race. I imagine this. Who's got the fastest lap at the moment? Actually, it's just Sygate's got the fastest lap in 12, so no extra point going for that. But I imagine we'll be seeing that change hands pretty soon. And getting a bit close now, so Joe's turned up the ERS just a little bit now in the hot lap, and this could be his chance. I think now push has come to shove. Let's see then if he goes for it. DRS open, overtake mode enabled. We're finally below 70% for the first time. Mark the Man goes to the right hand side of the track to defend. Does he compromise himself heading out of turn 1 and through turn 2. Oh, I think to be fair, both of them had big wobbles there. That could have would not have been that would have been absolutely hilarious if they had both had their own accident and crashed out of that race. That would have been hilarious to see them both do it at the same time. Kind of Trulli and Rosberg-esque, I believe, in Canada 08, where they just both spun around the same corner at the same time. You can go look that up if you haven't. But because of that, Yarm is close. He is close to that DRS range. He's just on the edge. He's on 2 lap holes fresher hearts as well than Markman. That could play into something. It might not. Still plenty of time to find out, and Sway's definitely close to that gap. He is 1 second behind Tom Pretty. And, well, that's a lot of ERS used for Yarm. But if he can get within a comfortable DRS range, he can then save. And who knows? Excuse me, he could have a go. We'll keep a quick update on this. This is battle for P4, but for now, this is a 3-way battle for P1, with the advantage going to Joe for the time being, as CVG picks up a 3-second penalty. Did he actually set fastest lap in the end? He may not have, actually. If he did, I might have missed it. No, he didn't. 24.1 he set. 23.7 is the fastest. Excuse me, the fastest time at the moment. So there you go then. Yarham is in this party now, and he's saving ERS all the while. So as Sway gets close to Tom, but can't make a move this time. And of course, these mediums are getting up there then in terms of their life. As we go for a move here. Not the best place to make a move, because obviously the activation's on a bit of a wobble there in the back end for Joe. Because obviously the activation zone is just up here for the third DRS run on this track. You can see how careful Joe is trying to thread that needle not to get that third warning, or fourth warning rather, but really it's a third warning for track limits. And here's Sway then in the background, having had wing damage earlier. He goes around the outside of Tom Pretty, and he makes that move into P4. So a good recovery drive here from Sway. But this race is beginning to tick down, and you can see how much ERS already Yarm has saved. And we head into lap 25. Mark Demands, as he has for the majority of this race, in fact all of this race rather, is leading the way ahead of Joe, as Yarm picks up another 3-second time penalty. So let's see if Thomas will have a reply there at Sway, but Joe getting closer and closer. And to be honest, Joe might as well have it in high mode for the rest of this race. There's no benefit to not using high the rest of this race at the very least. You may as well spend it all at this race, especially with Yarm in close proximity behind as well. So this is as close as he's been though. When he go down the inside, Mark the Man covers it off. And contact, and that's put Yarm round. A difficult place for Yarm to leave his car. I'd have to look at it again, but that's the risk. That could have easily been Joe spinning around, or Mark Demand. And that's the danger I was kind of talking about earlier. With you know, when you leave that door open for disaster. And actually, the thing that is now is Sway is getting obviously with that incident. Sway isn't too far off. If Yarm gets one more penalty, that could be a potential podium for Sway, but that might take the pressure off Team C Core Boy somewhat. But that's the risk you run. He could have easily been spun around there, and all because he's been faffing around in low and medium for the last 6-7 laps. And to be honest, I wouldn't have had the greatest of sympathy if that had happened, because he's had chances. He's had chances to attack, and he hasn't at this stage, and he still hasn't. And again, he doesn't need to, but that could have easily been an incident where he could have been in the wall, and it's all over. And then you'd ask yourself, I should have overtaken while I got the chance, rather than let someone behind catch up and potentially cause something. But there we go. Here's the battle. CVG on softs. He's actually a good bit behind Timo at one stage, but with those softs, he has come through. Not set the last fastest lap though. That is a surprise, to be sure. 24.1's the closest he got. So good So I'm not sure if he just ran into traffic that lap, did Stevie G on his flying lap, but he won't be getting that extra point. But still Mark Demand leads, and there's a bit of lap traffic coming up as well. I'm not sure who that is. That's Cygate actually. As a awesome dude attacking Bomber for P9, but we're going to stick here. Especially now that it's close to the end of this race, but I expect Awesome Dude will get through soon on Bomber, and that'll be Awesome Dude into P9. So we'll get some consolation points out of this race, despite how tricky it has been as we begin lap 27. Mark Van leaving the door open this time, confident that he knew that Alfa Romeo wouldn't come charging down the inside now. Lap traffic in front. Mark Van hasn't got DRS on that car, so no benefit. Actually, is that a ghost actually? Yeah, it is. Okay, so the oh yes, because all lap traffic ghosts. That's right. They updated that. As Joe runs out. That's another place you can actually get a penalty if you run wide on that turn 5 curb on the outside. You can pick up a penalty there. It does happen, and it's a very silly penalty to get because it's not that hard to keep within the lines on that part of the track, but it does happen. Markman might get DRS as well, actually. He might get DRS. He's not got a lot of ERS left, but he should get DRS here, and he will. And Psyche, I know he's got a ghost, but Psyche, yeah, and that's exactly what was going to happen. So he still has to get out of the way. I know, obviously it ghosts, but I don't know if that affects. It shouldn't affect grip, being even though you're a ghost car, the car still in front of you. So I'm not sure if that affects you, but yeah, that penalty was going to be coming. But begin the penultimate lap then. Mark the trying to cover the right hand side of the track. And Joe, can he get a good run this time around? It's coming close, but he can't get the move done this time. Again, he doesn't have to, but it's always nicer to win with on track rather than through penalties. But that's the challenge, isn't it? That is the challenge. CVG is actually right behind Ali then as well, so CVG could get back up to P6 here. Having lost it, obviously you haven't pitted. And Austin still stuck behind Bob Sanford, so he's still well to hold that P9 for now, but just 3/10 then Joe using basically all his ERS at this stage, and why not? At this stage it's there to be used. He's definitely trying. Yellow flag sector 2 and 3. Is anyone round? No idea. But they come round for the second to last time around this sector 3. One more lap for Joe to try and avoid a penalty. And, well, one lap for Mark Mann to hope that something else happens from behind. But it doesn't look like Joe's going to be close enough to make a move down this main straight as we begin the final lap of this race. One lap separating a potentially excellent win for Joe at this. If it stays like this, Stevie G is 1/10 behind. Oh, Joe goes deep. That's gonna affect him as we have a close racing here between Stevie G and Ali. But Stevie G should win this one in the end. He's got the softer tires. Oops, the fresher tires rather. But Ali's not gonna go down without a fight, and this makes a little bit of contact there with Stevie G on the way out of turn 2. But at the front, nothing has changed here for the majority of this. I don't think anyone else has led this race other than Mark Taman, because Adi Baba, of course, started this race on pole. That seems like a long time ago. But, of course, as we know, retired lap 1. And, yeah, the rest has kind of just been through there ever since Mark Taman got this penalty. This is how the race has always looked. And I'm surprised Joe did not get by, even with the medium tyres, but if he wanted to, I'm sure he could have tried a little harder to do it, but hasn't needed to. And Mark Taman, it's been entertaining to watch these two. We've liked to have seen the gloves off a bit more with if there was no penalties between the two, but here we go then. Out of Austin's retired from P10. That's a shame for him. His teammates will benefit, but out of the last corner, then Mark Taman is going to cross the line in first place, but it is going to be TMC Corporate. What? Okay, that took a while to update. TMC Coreboy takes the win ahead of Martin Yaram finishing in third. Then Sway will pick up the pieces in fourth. Tom Pretty then, a lonely race for him in the end. Only a few seconds away then from Sway in the end on penalties. He finishes fifth. Steve G will finish in sixth, ahead of Ali in seventh, unless penalties swerve otherwise, and they do indeed. And then a long way behind will be Timo, Bomber, and Steve then will pick up the pieces in 10th, somehow getting a point from this race, although at the expense of his teammate. Here is Timo, one to forget really for him. Long way off in the end. Could actually Bomber get him in the end? No, he had the same amount of penalties. And to finish us off, Saiga actually finished at 12th because Austin Tudor was on the lead lap for the last lap. And to finish off, there you go. PTC still rocking his Renault helmet from last season. But there you go, TMC Coreboy takes the first win of the season ahead of Mark Demand, and Yarn from 16th place is definitely going to get driver of the day, there's no doubt about it. Absolutely stellar first two laps, and obviously beneficiary of the CVG Sway Timo kerfuffle out of the second to last corner. But even at that point he was behind that group and he'd done very well to get there, so definitely driver of the day worthy for Yarm. Excellent effort by him. So we'll go through the runnings one more time. Joe then finishing in first place in the Alfa Romeo, Mark Demand second, Yarm third, Sway fourth, Tom Purdy fifth, Ali sixth, CVG in seventh, Timo in eighth. This one race for him. Bomber gets himself 2 points there in ninth. PFCC gets a point in 10th. And Awesome Dude and Cygate. Actually, Awesome Dude didn't finish, but Cygate then finished in 12th. Not a ton of penalties. I expected a few more penalties at this track. 6 seconds the most in the top 5, and that was Yarm. And not that it mattered in the end, but Sway might be kicking himself a little bit that goes off a penalty, and so that was the I was just looking at the damage. I was looking to see if the damage warning was then followed by the terminal damage for Andy Baba. I don't think it was. But there you go. There is your Australian Grand Prix. Not the most amazing race in the world, but it got a little exciting at times. But that's going to do it for round number 1 of Division 2 here at Australia. Next up is Division 1, taking place on Monday at 8 PM. Thanks for watching, and until next time.